Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki are one of the most popular directors slash animation companies, animation companies of all time. And me being an avid Studio Ghibli watcher, I feel like it was necessary for me to actually pick up this request I got from another Sid reviewer called BoyDude Reviews about a movie called Nausicaa. Yeah, I had it written down because there was like no joke, like two different titles for it if I pronounce it. The one BoyDude requested me was, in short, it was Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind. But I went on Wikipedia and I typed it down in the search bar to look for it, and the one I got that popped up, the one I put down, the one I found on Wikipedia was actually pronounced Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. So yeah, I just made sure I just said the correct one, or the appropriate one, or the extended one. Hell, one time I thought there was an Americanized name to it called the Wind Rises, which actually turned out not being Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, but it actually turned out to be uh, a Studio Ghibli movie in itself. I almost got them mixed up for a while, but now I just rechecked it, and it was actually the one I was looking for. The one that was requested from BoyDude Reviews was appropriately called Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, or Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, whatever which, but y'all get it. Um, when BoyDude requested this on my Promise Neverland review, of course, at first I had no fucking idea what that movie was. No offense, but I just didn't know what it was at one point. Until I did some external research on it, I figured out it was a Hayao Miyazaki movie. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, this is even fuel to the fire for me to go look at it. And of course, I think I'm going deeper and deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole, which is my career as being a critic, or I guess you can call it somewhat of an upcoming career, whatever which. I think this is me going down a rabbit hole. I can say me getting deeper to it. People are one day more people might throw me some more requests to review things in the future, but of course, I can't look at everything because some things you actually gotta pay for, like movies or specific TV shows on the internet and whatnot. And like I said before in my past videos, my pockets aren't exactly deep. So yeah, I kind of I'm that type of dude. Yeah, it may sound like really vulture and buzzard like, but I'm that type of dude that pretty much critiques anything that's around, or anything I like, or anything that's popular, because that's pretty much the only I can only touch what I can grab, more or less. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Um, when this film first opens up, we're introduced to pretty much the main character of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Yeah, I'm still reading it off the paper because it's a long ass title. And we're introduced to the character Nausicaa, who's seen scavenging through this woods, and she pricks off a piece, and all these little giant bugs start attacking them. But in the first half of the movie, when it first opens up, we're pretty much given exposition of the world, and the situation and what's going on and the plot of it, which actually is kind of what this movie is kind of really infamous for. Well, in terms of how I've used it, how I viewed it, how I saw it. There's a lot of exposition dumps here and there from like particular characters. So yeah, that's pretty much one thing I must warn you if anyone wants to see the movie, or what I felt about it, so I can elaborate more on it and whatnot. And we more or less figure out she's part of this really small kingship somewhere in this vast post-apocalypse world that they live in. This really what's the word I'm looking for? Science fantasy, steampunk esque post-apocalypse world that we're introduced to and whatnot. Yeah, she's a Nausicaa is pretty much the princess of that little kingship, but she's really responsible, and she was scavenging for goods and whatnot. And At first, I thought they was gonna pull off some Ray from Star Wars shit, not Daisy Ridley, because people seem to always attack her for some reason, despite just nearly only taking up orders from 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 an acting request. So yeah, I don't see why people are attacking the actor. They do with the character. When that gets boring, they jump with the actor. But that's the point. I thought it was going to pretty much pull off a raid with Nausicaa. Nausicaa. She was going to be this Mary Sue. She could pretty much do everything and all that. That's what I first thought. And I also thought they was going to pull off this really warrior princess aesthetic to it. But this Wonder Woman, Diana Prince concept with Nausicaa. But no, actually, it wasn't that either. It's just in a time she was there. She's there for her people in a time of need. If she has to splatter some blood, she'll do it. If she has to scavenge, she'll do it. If she will literally put herself in front of 1,000 snipers just to protect like 20 of her own people, she'll do it. That's what type of character she was. And honestly, I feel like Nausicaa was a really a breath of fresh air type of character for the most part. She's not snobbish. She's not a cunt. She's not a hime dairy. She's a responsible, respectable, and anything of the opposite type of woman. And from there, I can kind of relate with the character. It's just always in that fashion of Miyazaki and movie format, so to speak. Miyazaki, and I mean, people say Hitchcockian movie style or Lovecraftian. So I don't see why not. I don't see why I can't just come up with phrases myself and just say Miyazakian, because that's he's really popular for these type of movies and his type of writing and whatnot. So anyway, in this really Miyazakian style, that's pretty much how they pretty much opens up the character. I mean, for this movie, it was actually it was it was really good. No, it was great actually, but it still follows all the tropes of past or even present Hayao Miyazaki films. And actually, when I was looking at it, when I was looking at this movie, it kind of reminded me a lot of Princess Mononoke. Only she wasn't much of a warrior princess, like I said before, but she was still, a really responsible woman. She knew she had, something to take after, and even the story, the concept, the overall moral and message. Yeah, this is a philosophical movie, but it's not as fucking pretentious as all the things I've been talking about earlier. I've just been really just digging that shit out for a while, just fucking slaughtering, the word pretentious in movies and all that for a while. But now, this movie actually has a message they push. It's really philosophical, and it's really Miyazaki philosophy and the morals behind it. No, this movie actually does it right. Because, Hayao Miyazaki is a writer. He can actually write. Although some of his stories are already based on older folk tales. But then again, he is pretty much the Walt Disney of Japan. So you take it as it is, I guess. It's kind of fun to see how this movie it pretty much well, let's get some point across on you know it gets his point across on how humans are fucking up the earth with global warming and dysentery and pollution, and then pretty much burning the earth to the core, even to the point in the movie where the characters, when they went to a jungle, they literally had to wear these weird looking gas masks to keep from breathing it in because it makes them sick and whatnot. That's pretty much how dire the situation was. That was literally how poisonous the atmosphere and the jungle of the overall setting was. That's pretty much how desperate it was. That's why pretty much throughout the movie we learn more of what's going on. Sometimes we choose the opposing side, the more antagonistic sides of it. Sometimes we get the protagonist side is better, and it goes up and down and here and there and whatnot. Which actually I found like was it was one of the things at first in this movie, which has like these millions and thousands of different subplots at a time. I mean, the bugs, because in this world, in the Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind, the world building to it is, yeah, we destroyed the planet with excessive chemicals and whatnot, just like now. Apparently, also global warming is a myth, and it's made up. Because that's the only thing conspiracists and pseudo-intellectuals can do. They make shit up instead of actually evaluating the sources or the facts they find. They just make shit up on the spot, or just like any other human. It's not a black thing, because I know some people can call race or whatever in this video, but no, we as people are fucking destroying the earth, and I feel like sometimes we're not taking responsibility for it. And the more you look into this movie, the plot, and as the story, as the plot thickens, they kind of show more evidence of it, because the forest was going to spread and pretty much kill everyone eventually. Mankind was pretty much on his last leg, and there was one part where he was literally burning down the forest with fire, chopping down, deforesting it, chopping it down with trees and all that, just to get rid of the chemical fumes to prevent the whole world from burning over. So yeah, there's a lot of obvious. There's obviously a lot of deforest and protect the ecosystem, and we're fucking up nature and the world. It's in a horse shit position right now. There's a lot of that being pushed out in this movie, or protect protect the organisms, the wildlife and whatnot. Just like Princess Mononoke, I think Hayao Miyazaki probably has a thing about nature, I guess. Or if you get as old as he is, you'll come to just appreciate everything or something. I don't know. Uh, I can see that kind of, because a guy like me pretty much grew up with old people, and I can actually just fucking like understand why. And I even came to the point where I actually like old people, and I think it kind of has some a little effect on my own personality, how I show myself out, how I put myself out. Everyone always say I dress like a 40-year-old man, or I act like one, or even I look like one for some reason. I guess I kind of look like an old man or something, whatever. But yeah, it pretty much rubbed on me. I grew up with old people. My pretty much the man who pretty much taught me how to sing was old, and he pretty much since my freshman year of high school, he put me in a choir and all that. He taught me how to sing, taught me how to write music and whatnot. Um, Pretty much every adult in my family, excluding siblings, of course, are old, and I pretty much learned from them. They had friends, their uncles, their aunts, their parents, and all of them. So yeah, I grew up with a lot of people, and I'm actually to a point where I actually like people, old people, but I hate children. But yeah, that's besides the point. That's just my thought on Miyazaki in general. He's just, when you get to his age, you just start appreciating shit and stop hating everything. Like some old people just hate everything, but some people just learn to appreciate shit. Hmm. Anyway, oh damn, good. Oh, okay. Um, and yeah, like I said before, at first there's a lot of subplots and a lot of subplots, and there's a lot of breakdowns of the story, what's going on. Like literally at one point in the movie, it got this really Starship Troopers and Stephen King's The Mist. The bugs look, they kind of put me in the mind of The Mist and Starship Troopers. It kind of gave me that feel, and that was amongst one of the many things I was thinking about when I was looking at this movie. And at first they talk about mankind's struggle for survival, and with the poisonous gases that came from the spores from the woods that's fucking up everything. And then we get to one point where the bugs are a problem, because they keep just fucking with humans, but really we're actually triggering them. We're inciting them to attack, to be on the defense line with humans and whatnot. And then with the whole bug problem, in effect, there's also these more or less giant terror bugs called the orms, or the ohms. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yeah, the giant terror bugs, the ohms, they actually turn out to be like the literally most mystical beings of all of them. They can, heal things and they forecast the future. And even spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, they literally brought Nausicaa back to life. So yeah, the giant turd bugs known as the Ohms, they're pretty much they got their own thing going on with them, and they pretty much look like giant pale bugs with tendrils coming out their mouths. And I'll get to that later because Nausicaa has this animal tongue, more or less, so she's really good with animals. She can pretty much tame them and all of them, or they have a equal understanding to her or something like that. I'll get into that later on more in the movie. Um, which again, I would have at one point I would have counted as a Mary Sue trait because she pretty much could do anything. But no, it was just she just grew around and within the area she was in, she grew up around it. And I guess at the point like they keep killing these things. There's more of us than them. We gotta kind of go around them. So I guess it will make sense why she'll be able to learn how to cope with them. I guess or to understand them. Which is another thing, and another moral message that Hayao Miyazaki pushes out in this movie about, how humans claim that, animals don't have feelings and whatnot. So they give us full rights to do whatever, to kill them senselessly, and, they don't feel pain enough. And so that the whole bug subplot in this movie, that's also pushes a really strong moral message in this film. Uh, and There's another one about these other. I don't think they were part of bugs, or they had something to do with the destruction of Earth. Called the Warriors. It was this really mystical, pretty much destroyer like entity that was known for pretty much throwing the world into a barren wasteland in the first place. That becomes a subplot, and that actually becomes a focus for like the quote unquote antagonists of this series, which are two other opposing kingdoms that claim to want to to unite the other fellow kingships so they can take the fight to the bugs and uh, restore human dominance and whatever and whatnot. And at first, they try to chalk it up as they were doing the right thing. Or it depends on you and whatnot. But actually, more you get to it, you realize actually the opposing kingdoms, which is ruled by a woman, which is not a bad thing. I know it may came off sexist, but no, the antagonist was a princess herself from a more richer and profitable kingdom who plans on uniting the world together, uniting all the other kingships to take the fight to them to restore human dominance back on Earth. So yeah, that becomes another subplot with rivalry against the two kingdoms, more so to speak. The Valley of the Sky and the more Richie Kingdom, that becomes a thing. Hell, even the main antagonist of this movie is similar to the main antagonist, the Empress from Princess Mononoke, who more or less wanted to get the deer spirit thing. Is kind of washy. Princess Mononoke is kind of wish-washy in my head right now. She more or less wanted to get the head of the deer spirit or something, so she become immortal. And somewhere in the movie, she loses an arm, and the princess of the Richie Kingdom was revealed to have one arm. So yeah, there's a lot of tropes within Miyazaki films, which is not a bad thing. But when it's there, and there's nothing wrong with calling it out. Well, I'm a critic, of course there isn't. That's pretty much what we do. We break down things. We're really analytical. That's kind of our forte. But no, seriously, there's a lot of traits similar to Princess Mononoke and Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. There's a lot of similar traits to it. There's even this somewhat romantic relationship that Nausicaa has with a guy character, just like most Miyazaki films. Kiki's witch delivery. There's sort of this really small, like somewhat romantic relationship Kiki had with this fly boy that she had I mean, you know, they didn't get together, but you know, it kind of starts to become obvious. Or Spirited Away, sort of. Sin was sort of in a romantic esque relationship with the Dragon Boy. So yeah, that's pretty much just similar things that you always find in Miyazaki films, and I guess it just passed over into this, which is not a bad thing, but yeah, it is what it is. In this movie, we get to see a lot of clashes, a lot of different ideologies getting thrown around. The Richie Kingdom believes, you know, awakening the same thing that apparently destroyed the Earth would would be beneficial to you know, keeping their little empire up without, you know, other opposing empires trying to come in, because the warrior is apparently this super ultimate weapon that pretty much they wanted to get to first before anyone else. That gets thrown in here and there, so we get to hear different sides of the opposing army. The Valley of the Wind, they just want to keep that shit buried. Like, something's just not meant for human thought and ideas and whatnot, which is apparent now, like how they're pretty much digging under the earth for oil or fracking, and you know that actually ends up becoming the thing that destroys the earth. So yeah, there's a lot of, like I said before, there's a lot of, you know, real, actually non-pretentious, philosophical ideologies and whatnot being thrown in this movie, and it's executed like properly and great, and you know, it makes sense and whatnot. Yeah, we get to see a lot of opposing ideologies getting thrown around because the two kingdoms. We see an uprising from the Valley of the Wind because, believe it or not, they were pretty much under the thumb of the Richie Kingdom, and they weren't taking that shit anymore. So they pretty much were bringing the fight to them. And you know, we also got the bugs trying to get rid of humans because the humans keep killing the bugs, and it's just a lot going on. But despite of it, all of it going on, just like in the Stephen King book, despite of all these different things going on, all this shit going on, this random stuff, it still actually all comes back together and makes sense at the end, and that's what this movie does. There's a lot of subplots in it, but at the end, it still comes all together. Even with the warrior, even if you take the warrior out of the movie, pretty much wouldn't do anything because the warrior, this big hype mecha weapon that the Richie Kingdom wanted to have so much, the more or less keep them on top. Lily was just on screen to wipe out a whole horde of bugs like twice with this really nuclear energy wave or something, and then it just died for some reason. And the elder character of the story, of course, like I said before, this movie has like some really just awkward exposition moments, and you know they had to have a standing exposition character, and the elderly woman served as that. She said something like, you know, the world knows that, you know, mankind is fucked, so that's why the warrior died, or something like that. It was here and there, but no, it still made sense though. Even if you take the warrior out, it would still make sense. Uh, in terms of animation, it kind of it kind of gave me that feel like, okay, my first Studio Ghibli movies, first Hayao Miyazaki movie ever was Spirited Away. I remember seeing it on Cartoon Network as a kid, and I fucking ate that movie up with a silver spoon. And you know, while that's going back, because this movie's made like 1984, I was just going back. I'm like, wow, man. I mean, it's pretty much the same art style, but it got better. Like, it got cleaner. It got, like, you could tell, you know, there's an evolution in these movies. Like how I got there, Arietta, like how those look. I mean, yeah, they pretty much have the same art style, but you know, they still look better. If you catch my drift. And so yeah, it was more or less just going a trip to the past, like more or less a quick little evolution for me and whatnot when I saw this movie. And you know, it brought a lot of things, you know, going on, a lot of past memories of my first Miyazaki films, and Popoyo, all that. It's just, this movie in general, it's just really warm-hearted. It's a breath of fresh air, and that's the way it pretty much goes for most Miyazaki films. They're all just, you know, just great. They're all you know, they're all warm-hearted and cuddly and whatnot. You know, it's just like most Disney movies. You know, they're supposed to be friendly and happy and, you know, warm-hearted and kind and all that. And that's pretty much what you gonna get from this movie. Uh, Although sometimes I know this may sound weird, but at some points where Nausicaa, when she's on her little glider, I sworn at one point that she wasn't wearing any pants. Like at one point, I thought they were showing her bare ass, but no. If you look close, her legs are actually pants. I guess the color scheme of it, that her pants look they're so similar that it looks like her bare legs, but no, they were pants. It was kind of like Cheryl from Dead Man Wonderland. She's wearing an outfit, but some people may think she's naked because it's tight. The clothes are tight, and the color scheme of her suit is really similar to her skin. But no, you can actually see where her outfit starts and ends at, and that's why I kind of thought with Nausicaa's outfit, like she was bare ass naked. But no, it was that. It's just the color schemes were just really uh, identical in some scenes. So it kind of looks like her bare legs, but sometimes it just looked like pants. So the color schemes and the animation, yeah, although it was great, and it's a breath of fresh air because I actually liked Studio Ghibli's art style, Hayao Miyazaki's art style. I just feel like some color scenes were just washed out, or they were too just really they were really similar to other things, and almost made it seem like they weren't there at some points. But for the most part, this movie was good. Uh, and even with and the moral of it, yeah, I like how they pushed it. Didn't seem hand fisted or pretentious, which I'll get later into this video about all that type of jazz. I feel like it was executed properly. The animation was good, although at some points, like I said, it looks washed out in some parts. Uh, the story was great. I actually like the steampunk science fantasy aspect and feel of this movie. It was a breath of fresh air. It was nice seeing it. I feel like a few characters bounced off each other, although the wimpy soldier general guy to the Richie princess, I kind of felt like his whole little betrayal subplot in the movie was just there, and it was not there, and it was kind of pretty pointless. So it was a whatever scene. And more or less after all that shit washed down at the end, more or less the Richie Kingdom more or less was like, fuck it, it is what it the Valley of the Wind, they are what they are. We don't need to do shit. Stop trying to be on top. We're humans. We need to stick with each other and stop declaring war and all that. So I guess every character probably knew something or roped off something. Uh, there was even some parts in this movie where I actually felt concerned for Nausicaa, like especially with the part where she was pretty much when she got shot off her little glider, and the Ohm baby tried to get into the water, but it was really acid, and she was burning herself. She was all shot up. Like I actually did feel concerned for this movie. That movie actually kind of did evoke that in me. So damn, been doing that lately in this video. I feel like the emotion in this, the pathos in it, it was evoking. It was gut wrenching. It wasn't artificial. It was authentic. It really actually made you care for it. That's pretty much how I kind of felt about it. Even with that really kind of as poorly ending, with the ohms, pretty much the giant herb bugs pretty much brung her back to life like fucking Frankenstein. And I mean, I just feel like it was a bit little raunchy, but then again, the time it was made, and like I said before, Miyazaki movies are simply just made, to warm you up, and I know that didn't sound right, but yeah, I get it. It's made to hold your fate up. It's made to put a smile on your face. It's made to keep your face out the gutter, and so yeah, I can understand it here and there. Although honestly, I'm not a big. Although honestly, I think it would have made more sense if she gave herself up for a cause to save humanity, because all those bugs would have wiped out all those kingdoms. Let's face it. And if she died and she stayed dead, I know it may sound fucked up, but it would make more sense to a hero's journey, because that's pretty much where her character arc is. A hero's journey, it would have impacted it more, would have took more risk and whatnot. But you know what? I was still alright with her coming back, because again, it's a Miyazaki movie. It's made to keep you lighthearted, although technically this is a dark fantasy, so it's it is what it is, I guess. Uh, so yeah, pretty much everything was pretty much good about this movie. I was having second guesses, honestly, like half of it, but as soon as the ending came, everything bounced off each other. I'm like, yeah, this is actually a really great movie. Although some of the subplots, yeah, kind of get jumbled a bit, but it still made sense. It still all made sense at the end. So I was like, yeah, okay, this is acceptable. Um, I'm gonna give it exceptional. The characters were great. The world building was there. It actually did evoke some emotion out of me somewhere in this movie. It was authentic. Well, that's pretty much about it. Yeah, it was pretty good. I hope you liked this review, BoyDude Reviews. I literally just got finished seeing it and did this review as soon as I got through it. It was pretty great. That's pretty much all I gotta say about it. I guess I gotta still go back on that mark of going back to seeing pretty much all the Studio Ghibli movies, because Spirit Away pretty much blew me away. So this Spirit Away more or less got me into the field that to be interested into them. It really did open me up to Miyazaki's films. So yeah, I feel like it's important for me to just look that I saw this movie. So yeah, thanks, BoyDude Reviews. Actually, it's been a pleasure seeing this movie and doing this review and talking it all out. Uh, and I also want to get to one other part in the video where I said, pretentious writing or, social morals and all that. I feel like, it was overall actually really authentic in here. It wasn't, it wasn't hand fisted. It pretty much didn't bite itself on the ass like a few things I know. Uh, something you can come open minded or close minded with this movie, but you still get what's going on. Because apparently, if you look at something that has a moral to it, social commentary to it, that's preachy, then that makes you smarter than anyone else who's not into that thing. I mean, which doesn't make any. That's something a pseudo-intellectual would say. I mean, all because you look at something that has social commentary into it, that doesn't make you smart. You fucking dumbass. You arrogant fuckhead. No, it doesn't make you smarter than anybody. If you look at something with social commentary, it just means that you're a pretentious prick. That's what the fuck it means. This movie actually does it fucking right. And no, you don't have to be. If you look at this movie, this doesn't make you smart. It's shit. The movie in itself gets the message out across. You could be dumb as hell, smart as hell, but you still would get this movie. You don't have to be really smart to get what's going on. It kind of, tells itself. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about it. I really don't like fucking pseudo-intellectuals, man. They literally got their heads up their own asses. So, all because you look at a cartoon that mentions some moral messages here and there that makes you smarter than everybody, and if someone has a bad review on it or a negative response to said thing that you look at that makes them dumber but makes you smarter because you get it. So I guess having your own opinion doesn't exist then. I guess. I mean, for a intellectual as they like to claim themselves are, they sure really don't know what it means to have an opinion. I mean, debate, criticism been dated back centuries ago, and people still whining if they look at something with preachy morals in it. They whine about people who don't like things with preachy morals in it, and they call them stupid and condescend them. Yet they're also scared of a little debate or criticism that people have for it, which again, like I said, criticism dates like thousands of years back, since like the Athenians, the philosophers, the pre-Socratic philosophers debated all the time. That's kind of how you get ideas out. That's kind of how you test ideas out. Not everything is Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm gonna kiss your ass now. That you kind of have to test ideas. That's the only way you're gonna get, a right observation, the right answer. You can't just have everything just shoved at you and expect it to be, in your face. You're gonna have to, break things down. You're gonna have to be analytical if you actually want to find out how something works, how something, works its course. That's common sense. You don't have to go to college for that. You don't have to be some Mensa level motherfucker to know that. That's basic. That's basic knowledge that these pseudo-intellectuals claim that they know so much about, and that's why they're smarter than everybody. But literally, they're the most pretentious, arrogant, dumb fuck people in the world you can ever meet. And I know I may have been bragging about it, but that's pretty much how I feel about when people say shit like that. Like, you're not smart enough to look at Naruto because it has philosophical meaning to it, or My Hero Academia because it has philosophical meaning to it. You're dumb if you don't like it. You're dumb if you don't understand it. You're dumb if you don't see it. You're dumb, oh yes, because it's your interpretation of it. You overthink things. Overthinking shit doesn't make you smart. Overthinking shit makes you look like a fucking asshole, a dumb fuck. So that's what I'm pretty much all I gotta say about it. Yeah, this is a great movie, man. All that aside, it's just, this shit really just gets on my fucking skin. These fucking conspiracists and these pseudo intellectuals and who like to fucking label shit. Like, literally, no joke. Somebody literally got upset about me because I said that I enjoy GTA mostly because of its gameplay and not for its social commentary. Yes, true, GTA has Grand Theft Auto has social commentary, but that's not the first. But when I play GTA, that's not what I really come for. I don't come to play GTA to be preached. I play GTA because all the things you do in GTA, like shooting people or driving in your car and all that shit. You won't be able to do in real life, and that's you can literally do it just in the screen by playing a game. Yeah, that's the reason why I played for action. I want to be entertained, nigga. I don't want to be preached. GTA is not that game. It has that in the game, but that's not its main priority. GTA Grand Theft Auto's main priority is to entertain you because GTA breaks beyond the boundaries of reality. You're able to do things you won't do in the real world. That's why people play video games in the first place. That's why people look at fiction in the first place. Fuck. It's just everyone always think, when you overthink things or if you trace down the most smallest things about something, that makes you really intelligent. No, it just makes you a pretentious prick. Let people fucking enjoy something. Not everything has to have a fucking message to it. That's pretty much all I gotta say about it, man. Like and subscribe, man. Check me out on my social media accounts and whatnot. And y'all, don't be pretentious. Don't be pseudo-intellectuals. Don't be desperate. Look at action-based things for action. And yes, if you want to be preached, which is not a bad thing, because apparently, if I don't like, preaching, if I hate all of that, apparently, if I'm, not smart enough, like some pseudo-intellectuals like to claim, because I don't like the things they like. It's all really based on opinion. If you narrow it down, that makes me dumb or stupid or I don't see it or whatever. Like, I have to always come out open mind about something. I can't just sit down and enjoy something for once. Sometimes there's times to think, and there's some times where you don't think. That's pretty much what I'm just saying about it. And sometimes I don't always want to think while I'm looking at something, especially if its main tone is to entertain you. If it's action based, that's pretty much what I gotta say about it, man. That assumes watching y'all, and have a blessed day, man.